Welcome back to Project Seawolf. So, the rain is back. It's definitely fall, but it's not that cold out. So, I'm still gonna be able to do some epoxy today. And for it to cure, it should be at least 60 degrees. As far as the bilge goes, it was dry when I got here. And then I popped off the cockpit drains and removed some plugs from those so it drains better. Because it's the beginning of the season, so I want it to be draining for at least the next few months. At least perfectly well, because it's gonna start raining a ton every day. I got those off. I'm gonna replace those before I put it back in the water. So yeah, the valves are both broken. So everything just needs to be replaced, all those fittings. There's a couple of leaks. One is in the galley here in this, underneath this.
Featuring Drake by Young Stone Alive, Young Thug, and
There used to be a freshwater fill there, and that hole leaks a little bit. I've got a pan there, not much. And then there's one under the mast here. There's some fittings up here that have holes under them that leak pretty bad. And then there's only one up in the bow that's a very slow drip from the tow rail. So not from the repair site, but from the tow rail. So thank goodness all that's sealed up. So one of the big downsides from what I did before removing a lot of the liner against the hull is that there are a lot of raw fiberglass ends to the liner now. So for example, up here in the bow, this is where the liner ends. That's the hull. There's a little scratch along the side because of what tool I used to take it off. And actually, some of the detailing, I had like a little micro hole up there, but I plugged it with the thickened epoxy. So all this liner needs to be tabbed in now. And I think today is the perfect opportunity to do that since I'm stuck inside. Alright, I have cleared up this side. So today I definitely want to fiberglass this seam all the way across and up and down. Some more options for today, if I can fit it in, would be to put a filler piece here and fiberglass that in, this whole shelf in as well. I'd really like to do that, but definitely want to get these lines done today. It's been about a week's real time since the since I filmed the last episode, and still have the epoxy burn from 2 weeks ago and my pinky nail. I guess I don't need to paint it black for Halloween this year. That's awesome. Alright, I've prepared all the surfaces that I want to get to tonight, but for now I think I want to fiberglass all this edge here down and then all along the bottom there. I haven't decided what I want to do in here yet. It's kind of a complex shape. I don't know if I want to cut this out and yeah, that edge and this edge and then kind of tag it to the wall, or if I want to sand this. And yeah, what I'll probably end up doing is removing this edge and then putting it against the wall, even though that kind of provides some good structure there. It's just, there's such a huge gap here that I think I need to just cut this out, put in a filler piece, and fiberglass that in. Although if I fiberglass the bottom first, then all I'll need to do is maybe put some thickened epoxy to level it out a little bit. Same thing in here. I think I'm gonna have to get rid of the edges, and then there's a huge gap in here that I'm gonna definitely need a filler piece for. So, okay, let's get to some epoxy. So it's all tabbed in, top and bottom. A little messy, but I mean, so is epoxy generally. Yeah, that'll be good. I'll be able to sand that nice and paint that wall, I think. Finally, and then I'll do the same thing on the other side. All right, it's been a few days. This is all dried up. No, I didn't paint my nails. That bow spray got my nail. Looks pretty solid. This side looks really clean right here. Just wish it turned out that way back there and up there. But this looks really nice. I like that. This seam will be hidden by the cushions, and this is going to be painted white anyway. So, and probably, I mean, I'm gonna have some stick-on insulation that'll keep this area nice and warm. So I think it turned out okay. As far as the anchor locker goes, definitely going to have to seal around everything, figure out where the water line is, make a drain hole out to the outside on both sides, and then this is not watertight or smell proof, so that's not gonna work out. So what's probably gonna end up happening is I'm gonna make a second wall that fits in this area here, and a hatch that's watertight. So hopefully smell and watertight. And up in the anchor locker itself, I think I'm going, well, I have to figure out where the drain holes are gonna go based on the water line. And then there's gonna be a floor here. Hopefully there'll be a cone to help the chain coil or something, to keep it from bunching up. And then also either rubberized paint or thin rubber panels to deaden the noise in here, because otherwise all night I would just hear clank, clank, clank up in the bed. In the v-berth. Okay, one thing I've been flip-flopping on is where to put the drain holes. I know I want them starboard and port side, and in a way that's not going to let too much water in, but it's going to drain plenty of water and be low enough so that how much chain I'm carrying isn't going to hobby horse the boat too much, because you want the chain to be as low as possible and as center as possible. But with the way everything is set up, I'm going to have to put the floor somewhere around 5 inches above the water line. Some people have it at 6 on big yachts and large boats, but I think 5 is gonna work for me. I'm gonna walk around the yard and see what other boats have. This boat is a lot like my old Newport, where it had a single drain in the very center, although this drain seems to be really far up for what I need, and I haven't been seeing much drains on the front of boats, or on I haven't seen much anchor locker drains walking around the yard yet. Ah, here's one, standard Shenema, and that's only 4 inches above the water line. These are considered to be pretty pelagic boats, so it's really far forward too. I don't know if I'd do that. Here's a Naughty Cat 43 that I know I've seen out in the water before, and I think they're pretty adventurous folks. And that's a whole 14 inches above the water line. Crazy. Let's check on the 40-foot Yorktown. Let's see, 10 inches above the water line. Man, I don't think these boats are going to be carrying as much chain as I want to do for circumnavigation. So interesting. Gosh, I just love the lines on my boat. They just kind of swoop, and love that. Oh, she's gonna look so good in the water. Let's see what this 60-some McGregor does for drains. Now, these boats were made to be some of the fastest crossers of the Pacific, so it is meant to be a blue water boat. And it looks like the anchor locker drain is below the water line on this one. Oh my goodness, what am I gonna have to do? Yeah, the clamshells on the outside, they face back, not down, so it keeps both rainwater out when stationary and waves when you're moving forward. So it's gonna be something I do. Let's see, that one looks like it drains about 5 inches above, maybe more. This one drains a couple of feet above. That one drains almost a full foot above. Wait, no, maybe 6 inches or so. What to do, what to do. Alright, so I guess from what we learned from the other boats, the anchor locker needs to drain above the waterline, probably. I don't trust my repair skills below the waterline very much, at least when it comes to making a hole in the boat. And as far back in the corners as I can, so that I can create a nice slope to drain. So the hole in the bobstay was at 8 inches above the waterline. So I definitely want it to be lower than that. 5 inches seems about right. 4.5 seems about right. Okay, I'm gonna say about there. That's probably where it's gonna be. I can see a repair that I made up there that I know is in line with the bulkhead, and so I want to give myself a little bit of space to work in there. But yeah, I do want it in that corner. So right here, I think 4.5 inches up from the bootstrap. Oh, it's gonna be the worst feeling in the world doing this. Putting holes in your boat. All right, in the bow too. Now, the actual drain hole is going to be a lot bigger than that little pinhole, but that pinhole, at least I'll be able to check on the inside and make sure everything's good on the inside. So I'm going to go do that now. Okay, it's really hard to see, but the pinhole that I just made is right here, and I think that's a pretty good spot. I can make kind of a funnel drain to get everything down in there without getting any chain in there, and I'll drain everything out the bottom. So that's perfect, and it gives me enough space to create a nice big floor here. I cut out the old floor here because it was so thin and just so messed up. It was barely holding itself together. So I'm gonna be making a new floor in here and keep that drain in mind, and I'll drill the other side now too. And I think a 5/16 size hole will be pretty good. By the time I seal up around the hole, it'll be about a 1/4 inch hole. And since there's 2 of them, I think that should drain, or more importantly, if there's a big leak in the anchor locker, then it shouldn't fill with water too fast. So, or at least slow enough for me to do something about it. Not that it should, because it's above the water line, but you never know when the boat's all loaded up and what kind of seas we're in, how it's gonna react. So I think this will be a good size hole to drain, as long as I filter the put a big filter over the funnel over in the anchor locker. You know what, actually I'm gonna use a 1/2 inch drill bit. That way I'll be able to get some through holes that will bridge the gap between the inside and the outside of the hole and fit in a 1/2 inch size hole. I've already ordered them just now, and they'll be here in a couple days, but for now I can just drill 1/2 inch holes. All right, I need 2 hands for this. Okay, so for the first time in a while, the v-berth is totally clear. So for this side, it's going to be a little bit easier because I don't have a wood element over here to protect, so I can just go straight to tabbing. For here, I need to trim that a little bit so it's straight, and then tab that in. And so, yeah, we'll hopefully have matchy-matchy tabbed in sides now. You know, doing this makes me just really want to finish the v-berth, like really bad. So I'm thinking of what all I need to do. There's bulkheads I want to add in here. There's a whole anchor locker ordeal. But once it's done, then man, I would love to have a finished room on the boat, or at least finished enough for what I want to do in the next few years. looks pretty good. So here we are. All this tabbing, you know, I learned from this side that I should probably go with wider slices of the chop strand, and I think that worked out pretty well. I doubled up on areas where there's a larger gap. So over here it's just one layer because the gap is like super tiny, but over here the gap is almost like 1.5 inches almost. So yeah, doubled up over there, and then also doubled up on some of the seams. So I think it should be pretty rock solid. So I want to thank you for watching. I want to thank my sponsors, especially those on the Patreon. You guys have made a huge difference in whether or not I can come out here and do this. And also everybody that's liking and subscribing, commenting. The channel is growing pretty fast, and it's been awesome in the past few days. So thank you so much to everybody who's new here. I promise I'm going to keep working on the boat until it's back in the water, no matter how long it takes. And then from there, we'll take on the world, I hope. And really looking forward to that, really looking forward to getting back on the water. Winter is fast approaching, which is some of my favorite cruising time, but I think it's going to have to wait till next year at the soonest. So stay tuned for more repairs. We're going to be working on the bowsprit a lot, getting all the new chain plates ready, redoing all the chain plates, painting the interior, and continuing to tab in this liner that was hiding a lot of the hull. See you on the next one. Thanks for watching.